There are 6 main nutrients your body needs. We'll examine those. First, here's a list of the 6. As you see, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, and yes, water is considered a nutrient. Here's a definition for protein. Obviously, we know that it's involved in healing of our body's cells and tissues. And of course, proteins are made of amino acids, and amino acids are made of the nucleic acid, the guanine, cytosine, adenine, thymine, and uracil. All these are essential for forming proteins. You probably remember this in Bio 1. If we looked at amino acids, there are 21 natural occurring amino acids your body needs to form proteins. Of those, you can synthesize many of them, but there are 9 you have to get from your diet, and these 9 we call the essential amino acids. Here's a look at all 21 of them. I've listed the 21st one over here, but it gives you all the different names of them. The essential ones we have there listed on the left. The non-essential ones are listed on the right. There are 2 types of protein. We have complete ones and incomplete ones. The complete ones, they have all the essential amino acids you need, are usually found in animal origin foods. Not only the meats of them, but anything that the animal makes, such as milk or eggs or any of this nature. Incompletes, they lack 1 or more of those 9 essential amino acids, and we don't know which one they could be missing. They could be missing any of those 9 on the left-hand side of the previous slide. So therefore, we have to know which ones we have to combine in order to get all the amino acids our body needs. A vegetarian versus a vegan. Well, a vegetarian, of course, is the blanket term to use to describe someone who is not going to consume meat, poultry, fish, or seafood. A vegan, now they don't consume any of the animal byproducts, not even the eggs, not even the cheese, anything of that nature. So if it comes from animals, they don't put it in their mouth. They can be assigned, a vegetarian or vegan can still get the 9 essential amino acids they need, but they have to be smart in how they combine grains and legumes. And if you see there, if you combine a grain with a legume, there's a good chance you're going to get 9 of the essential amino acids your body needs. This is why several vegetarians go ahead and eat tofu, a meat substitute made of soybeans, so they can get the 9 essential amino acids that their body needs. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, of course, that's the stuff that gives you energy. That's the stuff that's the main thing that drives your body. And carbohydrates, we say that contain 4 kilocalories per gram, and while fats have 9 kilocalories per gram. So that's how we tell the difference between carbohydrates or a fat, the concentration of the kilograms of energy it provides you. The body converts what's digestible, the non-fiber stuff. Fibrous stuff would be like cellulose. It's in celery, you couldn't digest that. But the digestible carbohydrates go into our digestive tract and converted, broken down to glucose, where they enter your body stream. Of course, glucose can't get in your body cells very well, so we need insulin to help us make that happen. And it's an enzyme that helps speed up the ability for glucose to get into the cells. The cells are going to break that glucose down even further because it can't use it at that level, and break it down into ATP, and ATP is going to run all the processes that are happening within the cell. Some of the glucose that's floating around your bloodstream is going to be stored as glycogen, and that'll go to your liver and and your muscle cells, and they'll store them for fuel for your further workout. So you have glucose that'll break back down and get into your bloodstream and can be able to convert ATP, constantly be able to help you with your workout. If you get too much glucose in your bloodstream and the glycogen stores are full, they'll start storing it as fat, and fat can be stored in your interstitial tissues. Again, a little review at the bottom. Carbohydrates are broken down into glycogen and glucose, depending on how much of it you have. The glucose will be broken down into ATP for the use at the cell level. Too much glucose, you're going to form glycogen, and that glycogen, if you get too much of that, is going to be stored as fat. 3 types of carbs. We have simple, complex, and indigestible carbs. The simple carbs are those very basic sugars that can be quickly turned into glucose. You have all your fruits, all that nature, fruit, milk, You see below sugar cane, sugar beets. Now here's a problem with these. They really can really surge your insulin levels. So sometimes hypoglycemia can happen, which you'll push more insulin out to get rid of that sugar, and you'll drop your normal sugar levels, your energy levels, lower than they should be. So you gotta balance those. Make sure you're eating the right amount at the right time and not taking in too many. You've probably seen before a kid crash when they've ate too much sugary candy around Halloween, and that's hypoglycemia happen. First, they're really hyper with all the sugar in their bloodstream, then they start producing a bunch of insulin, and they have that nasty crash. Simple carbohydrates can elevate your appetite, and that risks excessive fat storage. So it makes you feel like you're more hungry if you want to eat more. So fruit's a nice dessert to have along with a meal, some type of fruit or something. But keep in mind that if you still feel like you're hungry, you know you've ate. Be smart and realize that it's the simple carbs playing trick with you. Complex carbs, these are your starches, and these are really slowly broken down, okay, into your bloodstream, really gradually. Um, Better thing about this is you're not releasing as much sugar in your bloodstream at one time, therefore your insulin levels are not elevating, and you don't have to worry about hypoglycemia. And the problem is, though, if you take in too much carbohydrates, they can be stored as fat. Obviously, as people that eat a bunch of pasta will get real heavy over and over again. So we need some complex carbs in our diet, some simple carbs in our diet, very good balance. Indigestible carbohydrates are those fibers. Now, if we were a cow, we could digest these, but we don't have multiple chambers of our stomach, so therefore we're unable to do that. So, I mean, stuff like the whole grain, the husk of the outer part of the grain, we don't digest that. It provides the fiber to make our digestive system tract work, and still make us regular. Celery, the cellulose in the celery, that you just can't digest that. You get the water out of it, some of the other mineral out of it. You're not going to get anything from the cellulose. Overview for carbohydrates, again, sugar. Be careful, with the sugars you eat and all that. Of course, there's not really much nutrient in it and anything else. Those are supposed to be kind of like a treat every once in a while to use. Fruits, good decision to eat those, obviously. Be careful, don't get too carried away. If you start feeling like you're really hungry, remember that's a trick that sugar plays with you. Vegetables, simple complex carbohydrates. These here got a lot of vitamin minerals in them. Remember, I said the green leafy vegetables are the way to go. Get as many of them as you can in your diet. If they're cruciferous vegetables with lots of branches, those are very good too. Legumes, we have all of our different types of beans, peas, anything that's split like that has got a lot of carbohydrates in it. Of course, they store oils too, so you can get some of the good quality fats you need in those. The milk products, of course, we're going to need the calcium that's in the milk also, and they have some simple carbohydrates there. We just tell you to stay with the low-fat milks if you can. And then we have grain products. Remember, we're going to go whole grain as much as possible. It maintains a healthy digestive tract and keeps us with complex starches. Here's some good examples of some of those carbs that you can get. Some bad examples over the right are a lot of the processed stuff. We don't want processed grain. We don't want that junk food. That's just not good stuff from the other category. Fats. Now, this nutrient, it provides us with additional energy. And yes, we do need some fats in your diet. They help us store A, D, E, and K. As a matter of fact, we say we really don't want, like a male, to go below a 5% body fat. If they do that, then they have to be very careful of all the nutrients and everything else they put in their body. They really need a dietitian to tell them exactly what mineral, vitamin, and how much nutrient, and counting calories and all this. So it's extremely dangerous being a bodybuilder if you don't have an education on how to do it. Fats also surround and cushion your internal organs, and they insulate your body. Two types of fat. We have saturated and unsaturated. Saturated fats, of course, are animal fat. They're usually solid at room temperature. So these things are like you cook a hamburger and the grease is liquefied, and then the grease that's left in the pan, if you let it sit and gets to room temperature, it becomes, more of a paste. That's a saturated fat. And your Crisco, obviously, you've seen that saturated fat that you get out of a can. Unsaturated fat. Now these here are liquid at room temperature, and these have a tendency to be of our nuts or seed origin or vegetables. You have all those oils. Olive oil is a very good example. Canola oil is a very good example of a good unsaturated fat. Three types of fat that we monitor in your bloodstream. Well, we talk about cholesterol. We have low density lipoproteins, LDLs, high density lipoproteins, HDLs, and triglycerides. And those three are going to be monitored if you get a blood test. LDLs is that bad cholesterol. That's that cholesterol that we see at the bottom. It's going to build up as plaque in your arterial wall, can bust out and cause you to have a blockage in your heart. We don't want that to happen. HDLs really actually they help us remove LDLs. So if you have a good HDL cholesterol count, a high one, that's a good thing. Exercise, heredity has a little bit to do with HDL count. Then we have triglycerides. These are another type of fat found in your blood. Triglycerides are another unhealthy fat. You don't want that. That also will help the buildup of plaque in your body wall. So the two to pay attention to, the LDL and the triglycerides. Those are the counts you don't want high. Minerals. These are nutrients that regulate many of the chemical reactions of your body. They help us with enzymes, keep our electrolytes going. As you see below, we have the ones we need large amounts of, the macro mineral, or well, I mean larger amounts, measurable amounts, and then the trace minerals on the periodic table down below here. You really can get enough minerals in your diet by eating a good variety of healthy foods. And remember I told you the leafy green vegetables are an excellent source of minerals and vitamins. Make sure you get those in your diet all the time. You have lots of different options with fruits and vegetables. I always believe in combining colors and textures, and you'll be sure if you do that over and over again, you'll get all the minerals in your diet you need. No matter what, I say it's a good idea to take just one multi-purpose vitamin, not a bunch of individual vitamins, because you could get way more than you need and get a mega dose of those vitamins. It's very hard on your kidneys to do that. But a multi-purpose vitamin is very good ideal just to make sure that you're getting the vitamins you need in your system that you may not be getting in your diet. Two types of vitamins. There are water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins. Of course, water-soluble vitamins, if you put them in water, they'll easily dissolve. These are what you've heard before. You need a daily dose of vitamin C or B complex. These vitamins are easily dissolved, but they're easily left out of your system too. I mean, they can be filtered out pretty quickly. Fat-soluble vitamins, though, those are a little bit harder to digest, and that we store those in our fat cells, obviously, because in fat they have a tendency to be really well soluble. You get them in water, they won't break down. So we store them in fat in our liver. A, D, and E, and K are examples of those. Because we store them, we don't have to have them in our daily diet, but they're usually in all your multi-purpose vitamins. So that's the reason why if you've ever taken a vitamin in the morning and not had anything on your stomach, it makes your stomach upset. It's hard to digest. So you always want to make sure if you're going to take a multi-purpose vitamin that you put something on your stomach with it. Water. Yes, water is a nutrient. It makes up about 60% of our body. There below you see some of the processes. There's several more processes the body's involved with. Everything from controlling your temperature to making sure your joints are lubricated to ensuring that all the processes in your body happens. I mean, the blood is made of mainly water. So you can think about all the things that are done there. You can read through this list yourself. And there's a little bit more of a breakdown of that too. A little down and dirty of it. Water loss. Well, we lose water in lots of ways. Tears, perspiration, urine, sometimes in our normal defecation. Some is lost in normal defecation. If you've got, of course, vomiting and diarrhea, that's more serious. We can lose lots of water quickly. Dehydration is that excessive loss of fluid. Now remember, there are three dangers of dehydration. The first sign usually is heat cramps. Not everyone always gets cramps, but this muscle cramp is usually due to water loss and electrolyte imbalance. So that's a sign to let us know that we need to get water in our body and electrolytes in there. Heat exhaustion. This is a little bit worse. Now our color has changed, and usually if you're a Caucasian, your skin will get very red and hot. An African American might have more ashen look to their skin. They'll be hot to the touch, and the person's going to stop sweating. When they stop sweating, that is extremely dangerous. Now you're in danger of a heat stroke. This is where your body temperatures get up above 104 degrees or higher on your outer surface. And then oxygen will decrease the brain. This is extremely serious because parts of the brain will shut off, which could lead to death or severe brain damage.